And the second issue I want to raise is along exactly the same lines as the Honourable Member for Ellesmere Port and Neston, which is this leasehold freehold scam that exists within our country. It was brought to my attention before the general election what was going on in the Ribble Valley, and I don't know whether it's a northwest thing or it's throughout the entire country. But people are being recommended solicitors by these builders who then, funnily enough, do not point out or indeed emphasise the fact that the ground rents which they will be paying, which may start off at a relatively modest amount, double every 10 years for the next 50 years. So at the end of it, people could be paying £10,000 a year ground rent to be living in a house that they're paying for. It is an absolute scandal. It's blighting the properties of people now trying to sell them. The Honourable Member is absolutely right. Some building societies won't touch them now to lend anybody money buying these properties. What is even worse is that they are told when they are about to buy the properties, oh, you can buy the freehold later on, don't worry about that. So what happened in the Ribble Valley? They went to Taylor Wimpey and said, well, you said we had 2 years to buy the freehold. Well, we'd like to buy them. And they were expecting to pay £4,500. They were then told, well, actually, we've sold these leases on to another company. They sold them for, a sum of money. And now we are talking about a considerable amount of money if you want to buy that freehold from a third company, an independent company. They weren't told by Taylor Wimpey that this was going to happen. And so I just want to give one vivid example, which is one test case, of Trevor and Margaret Noel, who live on Calderstones Green in Whalley. They bought their property in 2011. They were informed that they had a 2-year window to buy the property's leasehold. They contacted Taylor Wimpey's legal team before the 2-year period had expired. He was told he was unable to purchase the leasehold because the negotiations with a third party were too far gone to halt. So they were sold to E&J Estates for £7,000. After contacting E&J Estates, Mr. Noel bought the lease for £38,000 just months after it was sold for £7,000. So what I would say to the government, and I know that it was part of our manifesto that we were going to get some reforms in this area, is that this scam has got to be made illegal. We've got to protect the people who are unknowingly and unwittingly buying these properties and then are being wide open to being fleeced by a third party. The developer doesn't appear to care at all about the fact that they've put people in an invidious position. And also, should they really be suggesting solicitors to act on behalf of people who are buying these properties? That should be made illegal as well, so that people are getting proper, independent advice. Had they been warned of this in the first place, they wouldn't have touched these houses, and these developers wouldn't have been able to have fabricated a scam that is now inflicting misery on so many people around this country.
There we are.